here. First of all, I want to salute the students that stood up for yourselves when you came to being kicked off of your college campus. I think you should give yourselves a round of applause for that. It's something special when old heads like ourselves can sit back and don't have to say anything and watch you guys voice your God-given opinion. We are here for Jamarion Robinson. This is a young brother that was attempted to be apprehended by U.S. Marshals, but he was dragged out of the apartment, his girlfriend's apartment, riddled with bullets, literally over 20 bullets. There's a count of 67 shots. Now, I applaud you guys that are here, but you ever heard the term speaking to the choir? Oh, yeah. There are some that are not supporting this initiative. There are some because there are reports of a shootout prior to them coming to apprehend Jamarion. We want to make sure it's clear. According to this family, the picture that they were shown, the picture of the individual that was involved in the shootout prior to them coming to the apartment complex in East Point was not Jamarion. I'm going to say that again. The picture that the GBI family, is that correct? Yes. The picture that the GBI showed this family of the individual that was a person of interest in this shootout was not Jamarion Robinson. That's an important key because when they came to this apartment complex, they came locked and loaded and ready for someone that had fired upon police. When they got to that apartment, I want you to understand the key points. Do we have the flyers? Yeah. I want to make sure that you get some flyers here that have the facts. A fact sheet. The Morehouse over there. If we could get that passed around, 10 points. I just want to focus right now before we get this march and rally started on point number 3 and point number 7. I'll read them off. There we go. Point 1. Remember, I want to focus on 3 and 7. Point 1, Jamarion had no history of any violent crime, nor was he a convicted felon. See, it's important that we give you the facts because sometimes it gets slanted, it gets twisted. Over 60 shots were fired by law enforcement before a flashbang grenade was thrown at Jamarion, which was then followed by additional machine gun fire, semi-automatic fire. Number 3, bullets that were fired were extracted from the inside of the floor of the apartment directly in the location where Jamarion laid, which would suggest that the shooter stood directly over Jamarion and fired straight down into his body. We're going to revisit number 3. Number 4, Jamarion was a former student athlete right here at CAU and Tuskegee University, where he majored in biology and played football. Number 5, police were aware that Jamarion was recently diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, but made no effort for a mental health professional or a family member to assist in his arrest. Raise your hand if you've ever seen people on scene to help out other communities and talk them out when it's time to make an arrest with somebody with a mental illness. Number 6, a firearm expert hired by the family determined that the slugs were 9mm. They were all fired from the same gun, and the slugs are consistent with ammunition commonly used by law enforcement. Number 7, after Jamarion was shot multiple times, over 20, his bloody body was dragged down a flight of stairs, probably about 15 or 16, and no medical attention was rendered at the scene, which is required by law enforcement protocol. Number 8, Jamarion's upper body showed burns consistent with a flashbang grenade exploding on him. Number 9, Jamarion was shot over 20 times, including a shot through the back of the head. And number 10, crime scene investigation conducted by the GBI after the shooting did not include collection of critical evidence like the slugs from the floor where Jamarion was killed that were left behind. I want you to understand, I'm sorry, Mom. I want you to stand, first of all, I want everybody to give, this is Jamarion's mother right here. I'm sorry for starting this without acknowledging his mother right here. Auntie right here. Uncle right here. Anybody else from the family?
Girlfriend.
Best friend right here.
Girlfriend.
Another uncle right there.
Girlfriend right here.
Girlfriend right here.
And cousin right behind us.
Cousin right behind. University of West Georgia. We want you to understand the way that I operate. I like to take their worst case scenario or their best case scenario and use it against them. So for a minute, I want you to think, and I'm not saying this is factual. That's why we are demanding a more thorough investigation.
Absolutely.
Let's just say if shots were fired. If shots were fired. There is video footage supporting our position. Video footage that shows officers who were engaged in the arrest of Jamarion and literally turned their back on the apartment. Now, if you know anything about law enforcement, if it is a threat in front of you, you normally, typically, do not turn your back to that threat. Would everybody agree?
Right.
The video footage also supports our position. If you listen to the barrage of shots at the end of the video that the media has, that we have, there were 3 additional shots that would make shot 65, 66, 67 that happened after the officer had turned his back, and that happened after seconds, and I mean at least 10 to 15 to 20 seconds of silence. It is our position that those 3 additional shots were the ones that were used to put Jamarion down like they do in some dog fights, like they do when some thoroughbred horses can no longer run. They put them out of their misery. And I guess you might say, well, why do you say this? It's not speculation. We can announce.
Yeah.
The Davis Bozeman law firm, led by Investigator Rashid McCall, actually visited the scene, and where Jamarion Robinson's body laid bleeding at the top of the stairs, there were bullets, slugs, at a perpendicular angle that Mr. McCall will talk further about, that were directly up under Jamarion. Why is that important? Every single slug in that apartment had a trajectory at an angle.
That's correct.
The majority, -2, were all in an upward trajectory. There were 2 that had a downward trajectory, but the ones that we want to focus on is the one that Mr. McCall will speak on as he takes you through the crime scene. The one that is from a 90-degree angle, perpendicular, lodged in the floor up under where Jamarion Robinson laid bleeding. You do not get that angle from a bullet at the top of the staircase perpendicular unless you were over his body and fired into it.
That's correct.
Here's the key before I pass it to Investigator McCall. Officers do not have the right to break the law during the apprehension of a suspect. No. It's just that simple.
Right.
If Jamarion is guilty of what he was accused of, he should have had his day in court like every other person of non-color our people in the streets.
That's right. That's right.
So whether it is squeaky clean or controversial, this group of people right here are going to make sure that law enforcement follows the same laws that they are sworn to uphold.
That's right. Right.
Justice for Jam.
Justice for Jam.
My name is Investigator Rashid McCall of Opposition Research, Investigative and Protective Agencies. And I've been in this business a very, very, very long time. And I have never seen a case of this magnitude in more than 15 years of me being an investigator here in the city of Atlanta, working on numerous cases. It's absolutely unconscionable that you would find over 60 shots concentrated in a very small area at the top of a step, right? These shots started with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at the bottom. And as you ascend those steps, they go 9, 10, 11, 12. And as you get closer to the top, they go into the 20s. And as you hit that landing, they're in the late 20s and the early 30s. And then it goes into the 40s and then into the 50s. The crime scene was amazing. And I couldn't imagine what Mr. Robinson went through standing in that area. We're talking about a very small area.
Right.
When I had the opportunity to look at his body as it lay in the morgue,
Right.
I saw gunshots to his feet, to his shins, to his knees, to his thighs, to his groin, to his stomach. His hands were shot open. They had to sew them back together. They had to sew his hands back together. But yet and still, he was holding the gun, right? But to add insult to injury, because I'm not going to belabor the point of those rounds found perpendicular, right? But imagine after all that, after being blown up, after being shot up, being dragged down that flight of steps. Step by step, 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 to the last step, until it hits the area right in front of the steps. And then you see a blood mark. Drug him across the floor and threw him into the living room. And in the living room, I found a robe, a white robe, but it was stained. I found a tennis shoe, a turquoise tennis shoe, but that was also stained. And I found a red towel. And somehow his blood managed to stain that red towel as well. And I checked all those items for defects, because he was last seen in that robe. But there was no defects in the robe. There is no defects in the tennis shoe. There is no defects in the towel. And what that tells me is they drug him down the steps. Not only on each step, you can see the drag marks. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. You can see the smear marks, about 6 inches across. It takes up half of the step. You have to walk up on the right side of the step. The whole left-hand side of the step is blood tracked down, 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 down to the landing. I have never seen a case like this. I have never seen a case where the so-called crime technicians have come out and properly processed the scene. It was not done here. They thought this was going to be an open and shut case. This reminds me of the stories that I read about veterans coming back from Iraq and Iran. How they're killing the mother, how they're killing the father, how they're killing the child, just indiscriminately. Because nobody's going to come and investigate that, right?
Right.
That's what that reminded me of. I was heartbroken when I found those slugs because I had to go back and report this. And I have a son that is a little younger than Jamarion. So I thought in my mind, what would that look like? Getting that news. Let alone that my son was suffering from a mental illness and he was killed by the police. But in addition to that, getting the news that he was drugged down the steps like a dog, that he was shot up like an animal. So let that linger on your minds as we stand out here and we're a little uncomfortable, right? In the rain. This is what challenges our character. It's not when we stand in times of comfort.
That's right.
It's right now. It's in the rain. When is it going to stop raining on us? Ever since we've been kidnapped and brought to these shores, we've been dealing with this rain. And sometimes it comes and sometimes it goes away. But what we do know is it rains. So I challenge everyone, as we think about today, as we think about the life of Jamarion, to talk to your peers, whether you're a student or a professional, and ask them, will they come out and stand in the rain with you next time? Because it might be you.
Brothers and sisters, first of all, students, if you have any repercussions, I'm going to give you a telephone number, students. If you have any repercussions by this university, by these university police or anyone, call our firm. We will represent you pro bono. If they try to, because you try to stand up for your rights and to be able to be on this property that you pay tuition for,
That's right.
if they bring any issue towards you, call us. There are an army of lawyers ready to defend your rights to be on the property that you pay tuition for whatever cause you deem is worthy of you being here in the rain, right? You all should be applauded, young
That's
people.
right.
They should. The university should be embracing you, should be welcoming you,
Yes.
right? When we have universities that are working in our interest to expand democracies and freedoms for our people, then they welcome this kind of social justice activism, right? So we understand that those that control our universities are not necessarily interested in our social justice movement. But we know that y'all are here. We appreciate you. Your presence matters for this family. We have stood with many, many families, unfortunately, that have had loved ones killed at the hands of law enforcement. And I'll tell you that the presence of community, being there through thick and thin, right? Bro Scurry told me he's been with the family the last 2 days. He doesn't know what that means to this family. You don't know when you're texting them saying, I'll be out there for the protest, rain or shine, what that means. That means that his memory lives, that he's not forgotten. That he was someone, right? Because what they would reduce us to is something less than human.
That's right.
That's how it started, that's how it continues. This isn't new. And so they would reduce us to something less than human so they could shoot you, right, like a dog to put you out of your misery, and then they could drag you down the stairs like a deer, right, and lay you out and go about their business. That's right. Because of the dehumanizing nature of the society that we live in as it relates to people of color, and black folk in particular, and black men specifically. So there'll be those that will say, Attorney Davis, you shouldn't talk like that. You know, you're supposed to be like, we're here. We're not in the courtroom. We're here, right now, because right here, right now, this brother walked this campus.
That's right.
From 2008 to 2010, he walked this campus. Could we not pay homage to him on this campus? What's so wrong about that? What's so contrary to the law that the law has to be out here to try to regulate us? We're not the ones shooting up folks.
Nope.
We're not the ones dragging bodies. We're just here to say his life matters.
That's right.
Jam's life matters, right? Because if his life matters, then that means our life matters. Because if his life doesn't matter, none of our lives matter.
That's right.
Y'all understand?
Yes.
So when we stand, we're standing for Jam and we're standing for her mom, but we're standing for ourselves, saying our lives matter. That we will continue the fight. Rain or shine, we will continue the fight and continue to raise this up. What you have to understand, and we were very clear with the family early on, the issue with the case, as has been stated, are the two shots that are perpendicular. There's no way to explain shooting down into someone's body. If they're alive or dead, there is no way, the way this young man's body was shot to pieces, there's no way that he could have possibly, no way he could be holding a weapon. Just not possible, y'all. So the band is coming.
Justice for Jam!
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 No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Shut it down!
If we don't get it!
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 Shut it down!
If we don't
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No what?
No peace!
No justice!
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 No
Black
peace!
Nation rise!
Educate, agitate, organize!
How you gonna make a Black Nation rise?
Educate, agitate, organize!
How you gonna make a Black Nation rise?
Educate, agitate, organize!
How you gonna make a Black Nation rise?
Educate, agitate, organize!
How you gonna make a Black Nation rise?
Educate, agitate, organize!
How you gonna make a Black Nation rise?
Educate, agitate, organize!
How you gonna make a Black Nation rise?
Educate, agitate, organize!
How you gonna make a Black Nation rise?
Educate, agitate, organize!
And organize, 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 and organize.
We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready.
Y'all hold hands. Get on.
We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready. We ready for y'all. We ready. We ready. We ready.
Please, everybody, come on. Brothers and sisters, Jam's mom wants to say something to you all. Y'all made it, right? We made it, right? Okay.
Okay, we would like to thank everyone for coming out and joining us on this evening. I know it took a lot. I know some of you all just got from work, some of you all just got out of the class, but we appreciate your support. We are not going to stop here. This is the beginning. This is only the beginning. So I ask you all to continue to support us, to pray for us, to pray with us. Justice for Jam.
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 Again, thank you all for coming out, supporting us. We love you all, and we see you all soon.
Thank y'all. We want to have a couple of words from some of the organizations. We want to go through the organizations. We have the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. Can we have a representative come and speak? Come on, sister. Give it up for Malcolm X Grassroots Movement.
On behalf of the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, we greet you with free the land!
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 By any means necessary. Why do we say free the land? Because our ancestors have died here in this land. Our ancestors bled on this land, for this land. Our ancestors built this land over hundreds of years. Our tears and blood are embedded in the soil of this land. This is our land. This is the indigenous land. This is the people's land. And we fight for our brothers and our sisters who are being gunned down, slain down like dogs by the people who are sworn to protect us. But we know that the police are an extension of the state. The police are embedded in the system of institutionalized racism. And that is why we say charge genocide against this nation. What is genocide? It is the killing in whole or in part of a people, directly, indirectly. We charge genocide because of the police killing us. We charge genocide because we can't get fresh food to eat. We charge genocide because we do not have clean, affordable, sustainable housing because our communities are consistently divested. Prisons are infested. We understand that police killing is an extension of state violence. We understand that we cannot rely on the same system that kills us to deliver us. We are our own deliverers. With the people. That's why we call for a people's movement. Not an organizational movement, a broad-based people's movement. We call for the linking of oppression. Our sisters and brothers in Palestine, our sisters and brothers in Mexico, our sisters and brothers all over the world, black and brown, dealing with colonialism, patriarchalism, all the different systems of oppression that keep us from fulfilling our destiny, our potential. So we ask that you join an organization. We ask that you mobilize your communities to come up with internal solutions to deal with this. As we attack externally the systems, as we question those systems, we call them to accountable because the international community has already said the United States is a violator of our human rights. This is not about civil rights. This is about our human right to live, to walk our communities free and safe without worrying that our brothers, our sisters, our children will be gunned down arbitrarily by the people sworn to protect them. And with that, I say free the land,
Free the land!
free the land,
Free the land!
free the land,
Free the land!
by any means necessary.
Give it up for sister. From Black Lives Matter.
Here we are once again. Once again, one of our brothers' blood lay in the street. And so we assemble again in the face of this killing. Repeat after me. I am somebody. And I deserve full equality. Right here
Sister Carolina.
Let me tell y'all why this is hard. Say why, Anana?
Why, Anana?
Say why, Anana?
Why, Anana?
This is hard because we've been bred to not care for ourselves. We've been bred to not care about justice. We've been bred to not care about taking good care of ourselves and protecting our own communities. You see these marshals? Marshals, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you got the vest on.
There we go.
We were here to take care of ourselves. But when it gets beat out of you generationally, to even think about taking good care of yourself as opposed to just surviving, as opposed to just marching. Why march without protection? Why? You don't have to. We need to make sure that we hold people accountable who do not want us to take good care of ourselves. Don't you think you should take good care of yourself? Yes. Don't you think you deserve to take good care of yourself just like they take good care of themselves? Yes. Don't you think you deserve to walk on your campus after paying tuition? Yes. Don't you think you should be able to do that?
Yes.
We deserve to take care of ourselves, and we deserve to speak up for ourselves, because that's a form of self-care. Right. You never forget it. You never let anybody take away your ability to take good care of yourself. You pray when you want to pray. You walk when you want to walk. You protect yourself when you can protect yourself. You get a law firm or an attorney to protect you so that you can speak up for yourself. Never let anybody take that from you. I don't care what your mama, your grandparents, or anybody told you. You deserve to be well taken care of.
Sandy, how y'all feeling? Is everybody all right? Yeah. Is everybody all right? Yeah. Y'all tired of being murdered by the police? Yeah. Y'all tired of being brutalized and terrorized up in here? Yeah. Huh? Y'all tired of this white supremacist power structure dragging us through the mud, treating us like we second and third class citizens? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Everybody all right? Yes. Yeah. What we gonna do about it? Y'all telling me we all right? We shouldn't be all right. There's a reason why there's a lot of burning and looting. There's a reason why there's a lot of attempts to overthrow this power structure that exists right now, right? We got to do something. We got to do more than marching. We got to do more than singing. We got to do more than hashtagging and retweeting. We got to take it to the streets. We got to show them to be serious about our lives. Is that right? Is that right? That's right. Is everybody all right? Yeah. No. Let me tell y'all something, man. No. Sound better now. That's what I'm talking about. I had the unfortunate opportunity to walk through a home the other day with this family right here of a young man who was gunned down, brutally murdered, slaughtered, treated like cattle, slaughtered, drugged down the stairs, blood all over the place, right? Huh? They say it was like Chairman Fred Hampton from the Black Panther Party was murdered in his sleep. They opened fire on this man, 67 shots inside of that home. 67 shots, 22 or more in his body, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's disgusting, right? Yeah. But this is the government that you support. This is the police that y'all talking about reforming. You can't reform white supremacy. That's right. Right? Yeah. You cannot reform white supremacy. It has to be abolition. You have to be an abolitionist in 2016. You understand what I'm saying? They've murdered over 700 people so far this year, right? Over 700 people around the country. Y'all gotta realize something, each year, they've been gunning down close to 1,200, 1,300 people for the last 10 years. Huh? Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Over 1,200, 1,300 people. So we average that off 1,500 people a year. In 10 years, how many people is that? 15,000. That sounds like war. Huh? That sounds like what? What y'all say? War. That's exactly what it is. Genocide. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Let me tell y'all something. You have to get organized. You have to be a part of an organization. I know some of y'all are talking about, man, you know, there's too many organizations and everybody don't be doing what they supposed to. You come in and you do what you're supposed to. Right? Let me tell y'all something, man. They murdered Malcolm because of the fact that he was in between organizations. Right? You have to be a part of an organization. Every last one of us out here is a part of an organization. Either you're a part of this government organization
or you're a part of the organization for the people, right? Y'all hear me? Yeah. Let me tell y'all something, man. I ain't here to give y'all no feel-good speech. You know what I mean? Y'all been marching all year. I don't even come out and march no more because of the fact that I don't have enough shoes to keep wearing down. I'd rather take my shoes and stick them up in somebody's behind. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're more useful that way. You understand what I'm saying? This is what we got to do. It's a couple things we got to do. We got to run some of these fraudulent leaders out of town. We got to run some of these clowns that's running around here talking about what they represent. They the president of this and the president of that, and you don't know where they come from. Right. We got to get rid of some of these criminals who's cutting backdoor deals with Kasim Reed. Kasim Reed is a coward. And this ain't no rhetoric, he's a straight up coward. The same action he's pulling right now is what he pulled with Occupy Atlanta a few years ago. The same action he's pulling right now is what they pulled when Troy Davis was out here. You understand what I'm saying? The same action he's pulling is what Shirley Franklin was pulling back when Katherine Johnson, 92-year-old, was gunned down not too far from here. Right? Now, let me tell y'all something. There's a lot of people out here with voices. There's a lot of rappers. It's a lot of singers, it's a lot of politicians, it's a lot of politicians that you elect and they disregard and disrespect you. This is what we have to do. When they running around giving these feel-good speeches, go in your pocket, bring a couple dozens of rotten tomatoes and rotten eggs, and let them know how you feel about it. You understand what I'm saying? That's the challenge we should be talking about around here. We got to run these folks out of town if they're not representing our best interests. Let me tell y'all something. Join an organization. This family here, they lost their son. I've been doing this the majority of my life. And I've held babies who lost their mothers and fathers. I held, I stood and consoled different wives and husbands who lost their family, so much so that I don't even remember some of these names. Sometimes people remind me. Now here's the unfortunate thing. We get so used to these hashtags and we get used to the names, and then 2-3 months from now, we'll forget about some of these people, not because we want to, but because of the fact that there's so much action going on that we forget who's who and what's what. Because remember, if they're killing 1,500 people a year, we can't possibly remember all the names. Y'all gotta stop talking this jazz, talking about we need to boycott. We need to boycott. What you need to do, if you know if any of these corporations are supporting our demise, then you don't shop there. Y'all boycott so much, they're killing so many of us, you should have never stopped boycotting. Right. Huh? Right. Listen, man, here's the deal right here. We're talking about a system. Indeed, the brother Jamarion Robinson has lost his life. And I don't know how many brothers and sisters have lost their lives since then, since August 5th. Since August 5th. But we have to go beyond just the hashtags. We got to go beyond the retreats, and we got to say it is a problem with this whole system. On this Monday, August 22nd, we'll be at the West Hunter Baptist Church on Ralph David Avenue, across from the Wendy's. We're going to have some real go-getters, some real solid folks who will be bringing some solutions to the table. A lot of times, many of us have heart. The heart's not going to get it. That's not just it. It's going to take more than us just being upset. We have to be organized. We got to strategize. We got to get on the right side of history. August 22nd, this Monday, West Hunter Street Baptist Church, 6:30. Organizations, I'm not familiar with some of y'all because it's a new organization popping up every other day. Right. If you got something you want to say, get there early. We'll put you on the agenda. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
In our name, we have New African. We have the people like Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. In our name, we have the Panthers. We have people like Stokely Carmichael that we look upon in history and we see them, they're fighting against oppression in this country. I'm a part of the youth. This is the generation that's gonna free our people. We're not gonna take this shit no more. So, what we gonna do? We got all these talents, we got all these people that can do things. Do what you can do. What is your passion? Use that. Use that. And build a nation. What you can do can help our freedom. You were born to help us be free. We don't got time for this shit no more. Look at these people from CNN. They can't report news for us. Right. What they reported to? They reported to the people in the 1%. We are the people. We are the people that are being oppressed and pushed down in this country. We can't take that shit no more. We gotta report our own news. We gotta build our own nation. We gotta organize our own people. This group right here, New African Panthers, what we are doing, what we have been doing for the past 4 years is organizing ourselves, getting ourselves straight so that we can help make an impact in our community. If you can't join us, then you start something in your community. It don't have to be something big. Your organization don't have to be huge. You can affect the people who are living right next to you. You can affect your family. It starts with you, then your family, then your community, then your people, and then the nation worldwide. You got strength as a people. Jamarion Robinson.
Say his name.
Jamarion Robinson.
Say his name.
Ashe.
Ashe. Black unity matters.
Black unity matters.
Black unity matters.
There's a war going on outside these walls. There's a war going on outside these walls. There's a war going on outside these walls. There is a war going on.